Thank you so much for tuning in to the Distinct Broadcasting Network. My name is Delania Cunningham, and I am now going to transform this station into DC Talk. This evening we are here to learn so much more about the man, the myth, the legend, Minister Jovan H Rembert. So we're going to delve a little more into who he is and what he does. So, Dr. Rembert,
yes,
I have known you for quite some time. I know where you live, I know where you work.
Yes.
But I really don't know who you are. So at this juncture, can you tell us who you are to your family, who you are to your friends, and who you are to your ministry?
Okay, well, before I get started, I want to say, first of all, thank you for taking this awesome opportunity out to interview me. I would like to answer that question, but in order for me to answer that question, I believe it's a threefold answer. To come into who I am today, there was a lot of trials, there's a lot of obstacles that I had to go through. Many a times in my life, I had a couple questions, and I'm not going to lie, I questioned God for a number of things that I've been through, a lot of things that I had experienced in life, a lot of things that I've actually had to endure. You know, even coming up as a child, you know, feeling certain ways in life, not being able to identify who I was at that time. It really brought a lot of changes, and it made me kind of look at myself in the mirror. So to answer the question, who I am, as far as to my family, I believe God has chosen me to be a rock in my family, and that's not something that that I just possessed. It was something that had to be instilled in me, and it was instilled in me by prayers of my mother, prayers of my father, prayers of my grandparents, you know, my aunts, and people who actually surrounded me. So to my family, I believe I would be known as like a rock or a prayer warrior, excuse me, in my family.
Wonderful.
Yeah. But it, like I said, it came with a lot of trials. It came with a lot of obstacles. You know, I am one of 16 on my father's side, and then I'm the first one on my mother's side.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a lot of us, and although it's many of us, all of us are very close. You know,
Wonderful.
and that's another. Yeah, that's a good thing. And all of us are from the same city. So it was kind of crazy. I had a brother on one side, a sister on the next street, one around the corner, one on the block, one up the street. But we are all close. Right. And so even on my father's side, I was a little bit, you know, kind of laxed on my father's side. But on my mother's side, being the oldest and being the only child for 8 years, you know, it was kind of a hard transition. You know, when you had to add on the other one, and then another one came along. I wanted to know why it was there. You know, I could have stepped on my dad's side, but on my mother's side, I was just a little, you know, it was a little bit going on.
A little bit photo.
Yeah, it was something. But onto my family side, I really would say, you know, they look at me as if I'm the rock of the family.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And in terms of your, okay, since they consider you a rock, then who's your rock? Who do you lean on? Who do you depend on?
Now, it's funny that you should ask that particular question, because I know it may sound crazy, but I lean on, besides God, I actually lean on my stepfather.
Oh, okay.
And I guess it's a good time for me to kind of pour into whoever may be tuning in, whether you're live or whether you following us on one of our social media outlets here. What I want to say this: my stepfather was one who came in the picture late in my life, and to be honest with you, I didn't like him. You know, I wanted to know where this man came from. You know, who is this man? My mother was dating somebody, and then I fell in love with that person, and then, you know, she kind of hid my stepfather from me, because my mother was not one of the women that just brought everybody around me. You know, she was very
particular.
Very particular. She was very protective about who she allowed me to be around. So when she brought my stepfather around, you know, I didn't, it wasn't good. It was oil and water, you know. He wasn't what I wanted. He wasn't the person I wanted him to be. He wasn't this, he wasn't that. You know, I was that child that he told me to go left, I went right. He told me to go right, I went left. I did everything contrary to what he told me to be.
Okay.
And I found my stepfather at the time kind of being very, very controlling. You know. But at the time, I didn't realize it. I didn't realize what he was doing. I didn't know why he was doing it. And it actually molded me to become the man that I am today. And it's crazy because at one point I couldn't stand about it. Just, you know, I was that child. Every time I got a spanking or got reprimanded about something, I just went in the room and cried. I hope he just died. You know, that was my, just go die. You know? But however, I didn't know the days that he spent, you know, sacrificing for me. You know, I didn't understand that as a child.
Right.
And so that's why I want to take this opportunity to let whoever's following us right now know, you know, you don't know what the people that's taking care of you have to sacrifice and what they have to give up to make it happen for you. You know, and like I said, I'm 116 on my father's side, and I can't lie. My dad, John, he was there for me financially, but to be there to instill morals, values, and principles in me, he wasn't there to do that.
Right. So
it was it wasn't. I mean, again, if I called him, my shaft was there. My dad was there. You know, but to be there with me every day, you know, picking me up, taking me to school, helping me do homework, you know, giving me those men values that I needed in my life. I can say that it was my stepfather, Donald Miller, and I give and now he is my rock. You know, he's the one. When I run into a situation, he's the one that helped mold me. The funniest thing is this: it took me until I turned. I think he came in my life when I was like 9 or 10. I didn't start calling him dad until I was like maybe 34.
Wow.
You know, it was one of those things that, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I did fall in love with him. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because he cared. This
he
man,
kind of molded
he
you
molded
into
me.
who you are.
But it's crazy because it's because of the fact he actually made it his business to make sure that I was okay. And the crazy thing about this is I have seen him grow. In every way that God allowed him to grow, it was amazing to me that he was actually there guiding me and molding me and shaping me as he was growing. I never realized that I was growing. I was actually being, every time he went up to God, shifted him to another level. He took me to another level. And what he did was he made sure that I grew. And that, to me, I keep staying on that point because it was so many things, like I said, in life that I didn't have, you know, as far as the guidance that I felt I should have had, you know, but I can always say all the material things I had, you know, but at some point in life you got to give up the materialistic things and start looking at the values and principles and morals of things. So again, my rock will always be my stepfather. Just real funny, I'm sorry, I don't want to talk too much.
No, go ahead, because this is what we want to know. We want to know, Minister.
The other day, my stepfather went. Everybody know him. You know, they call him Smoke. You know, I couldn't say this. I never seen him smoke anything a day in my life, so I never understand where that nickname came from. But that's just the nickname they gave him. But when he was coming up, you know, he's my stepfather at the time, and I'm saying this for the record. At the time, you know, he used to have him a drink. You know, and I wasn't. My grandmother used to drink. My grandfather used to get drunk. But that wasn't my thing. And so my mother started going to church. She kind of took us to church, and he became a deacon, and then eventually became a minister, and now he's the pastor of the church. Wow. Well, the craziest thing is I found myself being more and more and more in love with my stepfather and the man that God called him to be. And just the other day, he anytime he asked me to go with him to do anything, to sing, open up, preach, pray, whatever, I'm gonna be there, you know. But the other day I was sitting there and I was looking at him while he was preaching, and I seen a glow around him. And I lie to you not, I just kept telling God, thank you. You know, I kept telling God, thank you. Thank you, you know, thank you. And I lie to you not, I sometimes I just think about everything this man had to sacrifice just for me. I'm not talking about for my brother Donald. I'm not talking about for my sister Maisha. I'm talking about just for me. You know, I'm talking about, like I said it before in one of my sermons. I remember coming, being sick at school, and my stepfather came and he picked me up from school, and he asked me, did I eat? And I was like, no, you know. And we went to McDonald's, you know, and I remember him saying, well, what you want to eat? And when I said it, he brought him something to eat. And I mean, brought me something to eat. And he didn't get him something to eat, you know. And I don't know why, but in my spirit, later on in life, I realized, wait a minute, that could have been his last that he sacrificed for me. So again, to answer the question, you know, and again, just to encourage somebody, you never know what somebody have to go through to make something happen just for you. And so my rock is and shall forever be my stepdad.
And I really thank you for sharing that, because you have just created a different scientific belief, because rocks can grow.
Yes.
Most people say rocks can't grow.
That's true.
But rocks can grow.
That's right.
And that's an amazing concept, because people who are rocks, you know, they have to have some place to go, someone to nurture, someone, you know, that can feed into them spiritually and naturally. But it's always amazing when you see a rock, you often wonder, how did that rock become such a rock? They had examples, and that's very important. Because, and another part of my original question was, I asked who you are to your family, but now I want to know who you are to your friends. Who do your friends say you are?
My friends call me loyal. My true friends call me loyal. My friends know me as a person, I believe, who's the person who's always trying to give.
Right.
I don't know why God did it, but he did, and I'm so glad that he did. He chose me to be a giver. And I try my best to be there for everybody, because I always believe I don't know when it's my time. You know, I don't know, and I'm not talking about my time to die. I'm talking about my time where I may need somebody's shoulder to cry on. I may need something. So I just believe, the Bible declares that what a man soweth, that he also reap. So I try my best to be in my friends' lives and to continue to sow into their lives, because at some point in life we're going to need for somebody to sow back into us. So what I try my best to do is, to my friends, just simply be a person that can sow into them. Now I let them know I'm real, I'm transparent, you know, I make mistakes, I have a lot of flaws.
Loyalty is extremely important, and it's very difficult to find friends who are going to be loyal and committed to you and to your endeavors. You know, and to come out and support you the way they do. I've been to some of your events and I've seen the turnout, and I really see the sowing that you've done, and you're reaping the harvest for it.
I truly, again, I thank God for such, because I don't deserve it. That's the crazy thing about it. It's nothing I've done so good or so great that I feel that I deserve the accolades that people give. And the thing is, I don't do it for that, you know. I just simply do it because I believe it's the right thing to do.
Always.
You know, I believe it's just the right thing to do. And to be honest with you, I have a lot of friends that covers me in prayer. You know, I have a lot of friends who constantly pour into me. I even have some friends that correct me, you know. And I always say a friend is not a friend if they don't correct you when you're wrong. You know, now everybody that come up to me and pat me on the back, sometimes you got to be careful with everybody that does that for, you know, to you. You know, every time you do something, it's, oh, good job, good job, good job. No, tell me when I'm wrong. You know, let me know, hey, Jay, you know, that was good, bro, but at the same time, you should have, you know, think back to, no, just say, hey, look.
Signs of true friendship.
You don't be wrong. You know, and I have some friends I call out, you know, my best friend of all time, she and I do not speak on a regular basis anymore for whatever reason, God knows best, but Michelle, you know, Dr. Michelle Rochelle James, well, she is and forever will be my sister. I mean, Michelle used to get on me, you know, and she foot round the neck, you know. No, bruh, listen, tighten up, you're doing this wrong, do this, don't do that, you know, hey, you gonna get in trouble, you know, like type of thing. Like, she was on me, you know, and to me, that's another person who helped me grow. Dion Smith. Dion was another one, you know. Dion, I remember hearing from her that, you know, hey, listen, if you're not gonna be this, or you're not gonna be somebody, you can't be with me, you can't be, you know, she kept people that was forward bound in her circle. So she demanded me to become who I am today, you know.
So my best friend and I, we use a term called critical friend. So you consider these people to be critical friends to you, the two you just named?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And they're like the ones who try to guide you the right way, and will let you know when you're doing something wrong or when you've said something wrong.
Right. Absolutely.
And those friends are so important.
Absolutely. And it's, like you said, it's important. Because if you don't have a friend that can correct you when you're wrong, they're not a friend. You know, and that's the number one thing. And sometimes, you know, I call some people, you know, got to be real. You have frenemies. You know, you have some people that are friends as long as you're giving.
Right.
As long as you're giving,
they're
your friends. But however, the moment that you cannot give or they hear the answer no,
then you're no longer the friend.
Right. And then you got to be careful of the friends that, you know, the ear bites that I call them. You know, in the Bible you got everything, more bites, all the other stuff. I call them ear bites. You know, the friends that always want to hear stuff. You know, and then they're the ones that when you the ones who you thought that you could tell something to, but the minute that you turn around, you find all your business out in the streets, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, all of your business is out there on social media, and it's kind of crazy because then you got a person that come right back around the corner and say, "This is what I heard." You know, when you know you only said this to one person, so I you know, you just got to be careful.
You have to be careful.
You have to be careful who you allow yourself to speak to, and also who you allow to speak into your life.
Right.
You know, I preach this all the time because people, they will always use you as a dumping bag or a garbage can. You know, if I will, because it's like as long as you're sitting there letting them talk foolishness to you, they're gonna keep doing it. You know, but anytime God get ready to use you, you have to learn how to discern and cut stuff off. And sometimes cutting things off means cutting people off. Right. Because everybody is not in your season. Everybody's not in your life for every season. Right. You know, they're in your life for a reason. So whenever you reach the reason why they're in your life, then you would know, and God will let you know to take them to another season with you. Exactly. You know, so you know, like I said, I have all type of friends, prayer warriors that stand behind me. My buddy, my pal, my colleague, Janethia T.C. Mack. You know, one thing about her, I know if it's something, you know, that I'm going through, if it's something that I'm feeling my spirit, you know, I could call her instantly. She drops a prayer. You know, so I thank God for entrusting people in my life like TC.
Friends who cover.
Right, that's right. Because you know, hey, listen, shit, I may not speak every day. We may not whatever. I may not be able to go to her right now and say, you know, hey T, give me $200. You know, no. But if I need to get a prayer across, you know, that she could do it. You know, so I thank God for prayer warriors in my life because again, you know, even though my dad is a pastor, I can't go to my dad about everything.
But you have to be even careful about choosing those people that you have speaking over your life and praying over your life.
Absolutely.
Because everybody who can go down in prayer is not praying on your behalf. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Say that.
So it's important that we choose the correct people to pray for us, to sow into us.
Right.
And to me, my circle of friends is small. Really small.
Right.
I mean, I used to hang out here and be with this person, that person. But when you go through trials and tribulations, that's when you see who your for real friends are.
That's true. That's true. I just came out of a season of breaking, so you know. And
there is a season of breaking.
Yes, it is.
Seems like it's just inevitable in some ways.
Yes. As I just had to tell you on my broadcast the other day, actually on the podcast, in order for a diamond to shine, you must go through 3 phases. You must have to be broken. Yes. You must go through the fire. And you must be given.
Of course.
You must go through those 3 things. In order for God to let you shine, you have to go through those phases.
The way you need to.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
Absolutely. And I just think, you know, so again, I thank you for even the friends, you know, you know, again, to my friends, I try to remain loyal. I try my best to be a giver. You know, and I try my best to cover my friends as well.
Okay. I really feel what you're saying right there. The last part of my original question, we went through family, we went through friends. Now, who are you in ministry? Who are you?
I am just a nobody.
Trying to tell everybody?
About somebody.
Who can say?
Everybody.
Hey!
That's just who I am. In ministry, it's you know, it's a joke, but it's true. You know, to be honest with you, I'm scared when it comes to ministry because it's not something I take lightly. You know? Because all my life I lie to you not, I knew my lifestyle was different. You know, I went through every facet of lifestyle that I could have been through.
Right.
And it's going to be in my book, so I just put that little nugget there.
John's writing a book.
It's coming soon. But in my book, it speaks about every walk that I have.
Volumes, huh?
Yes, it does, and it tells all the details. Phase 1 of the book is definitely going to talk about the gruesome things I went through in life to build me into my ministry, who I am today,
wow.
And what I hold today. But again, I had to go through the breaking, had to go through the fire, had to go through the pressing, had to go through the shaking, had to go through all of that.
Right.
However, when it speaks about ministry, God released spoke over my life and gave me empowerment ministries.
Yes.
And I remember I had a surgery, the first surgery I have ever been through. Like I had never been cut before. I was always scared of a knife. I was scared of being put to sleep. And when I came out of surgery, I was at my aunt's house, my Cookie, and give her a shout out real fast. She actually have a room. We call it a hospital room because everyone in my family go to her house to recover.
Yes.
And I was there, and I was laying in the bed, and I remember sitting back, and I woke up, and whatever. It was dark in the room, and it was 9 lights. God showed me as I was looking up at the ceiling, and I seen these little lights flicker, and it was in the shape of a pyramid. And I remember looking, I'm like, okay, I looked around, I didn't see the light shine, because it came across almost like a reflection of something.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, God, what is this that you're trying to show me?
Okay.
And I'm looking up, and you know, it showed me clothing line, he showed me the school, he showed me an accreditation company, showed me a transportation company, he showed me a broadcast, he showed me a counseling center, and he showed me some other objects, you know, the decorating company. And the last tier, which was the peak of it all, excuse me, the second to the last tier, it said empowerment.
Empowerment.
And I was stuck. And the top peak was J. H. Rembert Enterprise.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, God, what is this that you're showing me? And clear as day, God spoke to me, and he said Empowerment Ministries. And this was, like I said, it's about 6 years ago. And to make the story move on, I was there, and I was like, okay, God, I don't know what you're talking about. You know, like wrong person.
You told God you don't know what he's talking about.
He didn't even know what he was talking about. To be honest, that's
okay.
You know, God can never fail you, but that day God was wrong. I was like, no, God, you wrong. You wrong person. Go back, come back again. You know.
Right.
However, God spoke again. No, Empowerment Ministries.
Right.
You know, J. H. Rembert Enterprise, and again the light started flickering again. And I was like, okay, God, what is this that you're showing me? So again, I was like, okay, God, and God said, now I move you forward into ministry. So I'm like, okay. But in my mind, in my life, I have always thought and was taught ministry happens on a pulpit.
Right.
You know, everybody, I want to be a minister. I'm pastor such and such. I'm bishop such and such. Apostle such and such. Everybody wanted a title. Not me.
Right.
I was still in the clubs. I was still going to certain type of house parties.
Right.
I was still that person. I was still hanging, you know. And, you know, I always kept what I'd done very closet, you know. But so I knew I didn't want a public display. I was like, God, that's not what I want.
Right.
But then God told me it's not about what you want. You know,
listen to God.
Yeah, it's not about what you want. And so I'm like, okay, well, I know when you get out there, you can't prophesy. You can't, you know, you can't speak a lie. You got to speak the truth. You have to prophesy. So I knew I didn't want to be on a public platform. You know, but God said it's not about, again, it's not about what you want. So then when I went through speaking to, I went from, I can name a couple pastors and ministers and apostles who I spoke to. I'm like, listen, you know, I heard God say this, but I'm not sure if this is right, you know. When I still,
you're not sure this is right for me.
No, I wasn't sure it was right. Period. You know, I didn't want to be 100. Okay, God, you got to be sweet. Okay, maybe this ain't God talking to me. You know, I'm just being honest with you. You know, I want to first of all say, I have to pause and say I thank God for allowing me to come into reach with my Delta brother, which is Calvin, Bishop Calvin Greer, who actually spoke to me. Calvin, Bishop Greer actually spoke over my life, and he taught me how to go, basically hear the voice of God. He actually spoke to me and had me learn how to obey God and how to recognize the voice of God. Because when you hear God, God does not only speak to the now, God speaks for your eternity.
Right.
So when he speaks over your life, sometimes I was thinking, okay, I got to do it now. I got to stop doing this. I got to stop doing that. No, he actually taught me and worked with me to let me know there's a process that we must go through to get where God have us to go. So when God spoke to me and called me into the realm of being a minister or evangelist, to be honest with you, I didn't know I was ready. I personally, like I said, I was like, that ain't God. Maybe I'm still on this, the medicine got to wear off, hey.
From the surgery.
Yeah, I was, this ain't God,
Right.
But listen, God had a lot of work to do, but there came a time where he sat me down, and he began to, again, my stepfather was a pastor, but it was Bishop Greer who was able to mold me to become the minister that I am today.
Yeah.
So because of that, I will be forever grateful for him as well. But it came a point where God said, okay, I got ordained, like I've been licensed, ordained, I'm there now. And okay, now I'm ready to go preach a sermon. Right. And God said, you're not ready.
What?
You're not ready. I was still, addicted to porn. Yeah, sorry, I gotta keep it real. Right. But I did. I was still addicted to that. Still going to house parties.
Wow.
Still fornicating.
But you knew God had a plan for you.
Not only did God have a plan, I had already been licensed,
right.
So I was still doing this.
Trying to do that.
To do that, So I had to come into the realization of, okay, this is all a part of the process. Right. So I'm calling Bishop Greer, hey, listen, I know you just gave me my license, but I still got a fleshly desire. But
if you remember in the Bible where the Bible says that the prodigal son came to himself.
Yes.
So like he must have been out of his mind at some point or what have you. At what moment did you come to yourself? Did you come to yourself and realize, I gotta do this. I gotta do God's will. I gotta do his work.
Well, the first time I came to myself, to be honest with you,
so you were coming and going?
I was.
Okay. I
was jump roping.
Right.
To be honest with you. Okay. I was getting a microphone, I could sing Zion down. I never was that one who perfected the whole hooch in the church, License, that was it. I was one of the ones that even sit in the pulpit. I was just go to people's church and sit right out there in the congregation with everybody else. I didn't care about a title.
Right.
And I thank God for being humble in that area.
Right.
However, when I came into myself, the first time when I began to get broken, I think I had got a little, I guess, puffed up. I got puffed up.
Because you had your license.
Right, I had my license.
You could do it.
I could do this now, And I kind of thought I wasn't ready. Because, of course, by this time I had the school, and I know we probably indulging that a little bit.
Yes.
But I had the school was going good, money coming in. I'm touching $1 million, seeing $1 million come and go. Bringing home about $200 or some $1,000 a year, just me doing me, just living life, right. I'm giving money, paying for people, buying this, buying that, keeping it real, paying for, all type of desires,
right.
And let me put this out here, I don't mean sexual desires. People go back on you. Right. I'm just talking about, just
the things that you want to
do. Right. If I want to travel, I just spent, money. And it was crazy because I had nothing. So one day God said, okay, let me bring you back down. Let me bring you back. And what ended up happening, I went to the bank and I made a deposit in my business account. I made a deposit in my personal account. Off the top of my head, I know my personal account, I made a drop for like almost $30-some thousand. You know, just money I was saving. I was doing this and doing that. You know, I was always out. You know, grinding, trying to make my business grow. And again, got a little puffed up spirit. So God said, okay, let me humble you. You know, and I trusted a company to do my taxes for me. And I had someone who came to me, a dear friend of mine who came to me about business, and she was like, listen, I just needed something to go blah, blah, blah with the school. And I ended up getting a letter, and the letter was letting me know that my license for the school had been revoked. And then I was trying to make a transaction out of my business account. And the reason why I said about the numbers is because I wanted people to know that God will break you.
Yes.
When you think you have it all, God will break you.
He will bring you back to reality.
Reality.
Right. Reality.
Reality. So what happened, I actually went to make a purchase online using my debit card, and I just left the bank, put money in, and money cleared the next day, and it declined. So, question, okay, wait, something wrong, maybe I put the card number in wrong, blah, blah, blah. Declined again. I'm like, okay, check my email, because they show deposit. And when I opened up the email after receiving a call from my friend saying, hey, we got a problem with the system for the school. And in this one night, I find out that the IRS had garnished.
Not ours.
Yeah. Ours had the big I, the R, and the big S.
Yes.
They took everything.
My father.
All of the finances out of all of my accounts. And then my friend, the one who I call Sister Michelle, she had a school. And she ran into the same problem with our license. And she said, well, bro, you know, check and see, you know, if you can see this. And I'm like, oh, girl, it's nothing to worry about, you know, whatever, they just changing the system around. We'll kind of find out, that same night I found out that our license had been revoked. So now I'm figuring, okay, God, my source of income has been taken away from me. And then all of my money has been taken from me. What's to do?
Right.
Not what I'm going to do, but what's to do.
What's to do?
Right. Like, everything in my body was gone. Right. Well, that night, I was sitting in my house, and this is a part of the book. I was sitting in my house, and I remember crying. And I was really down. I was really out. I was at a point in my life where I thought I lost everything. My mother called, and she said, what's wrong with you? No, I'm sorry. My sister Maisha called me, and she said, hey. She said, are you okay? And I was sitting on the couch, and I was like, I'm all right. She said, no, are you sure? I say, I'm okay. And so I say, let me call you back. So I went to sit by my desk, and I went to just trying to, you know, figure some stuff out, like what's going on, whatever. And I started feeling something in my body. And my body was, you know,
like shutting down, or
my body started sending indicators something was wrong. And I started hearing voices in my head. And the voices was telling me, what type of God is it that you serve?
My goodness.
That will allow you to lose everything. And I don't know if you remember on Tom and Jerry, the TV show, there was always a good angel and a bad
angel sitting on, yes.
So the good angel was speaking, but to me, to be honest with you, it wasn't speaking loud enough. But the bad angel kept telling me, what type of God is this? That would allow you to lose everything, and look at you now, and how are you going to be somebody, and what you have now, and you know how you're going to take care of your daughter, and basically just everything started folding on me.
Right.
And out of nowhere, I remember saying to myself, okay, I don't know what's going on, and I couldn't recognize it, because to be honest with you, I was never taught about spiritual warfare.
Right.
You know. And so God was taking me through a season where I I didn't know about it. So I had to be introduced to it, because how could you preach about something that you never lived through?
Right.
So I was sitting there and I was like, okay, God, what is this? And again, on my right side, it was the good angel, you know, saying, you know, hold on, and, you know, trust God, you know, just trust God. But then in my left ear, loud and clear, I kept hearing, what else is there to live for? So now my body started to shut down, and I got up out of the seat, and I remember going to the restroom. I was over in Hallandale, lived on the southwest side, and I was by myself. I lived alone, and I was sitting inside the house, and I went to the restroom, and to be honest with you, I thought I needed to sit and use the restroom. And when I began to sit, I began to scream, and I began to scream and cry out and cry. I'm talking about to the top of my lungs. I felt like the whole world was closing in on me. And all of a sudden, I was like, you know, I got to get out of the house. So when I got up, this may seem a little far-fetched, a little bit too much, but when I got up off the toilet, I looked down, and all I seen in the toilet was blood. It was no stool, no nothing, just blood. Blood was just filled up. I'm talking about even around the rim of the seat. And I kept saying, oh my God. So as I began to, you know, try to clean myself off, I went to try to wipe and do whatever, and blood just kept being there. But I heard the Bible declares that the blood still works. So what ended up happening, the good angel again on my right side kept telling me, trust God, you know. But again, seeing this happen, I didn't understand what I was going through in my body. So now I found myself being faced with no finances, you know, no resource, you know, getting a phone call, not wanting people to know, because again, I was always private. I always suffered in private. I always, you know, did me in private. So I didn't want to open myself up to people to let them know what I was going through at that moment. So I do remember, again, I remember just, you know, getting up, and as I began to try to clean myself, and I just noticed the blood, you know, and as the blood, I kept, you know, looking, I'm like, oh my God. So now I found myself facing financial resource, you know, because I didn't want to open up at that moment to let my sister know, because of course you let your sister know, then your mama gonna find out, your brother gonna find out, everybody gonna find out.
Family.
You know, I was always, as I said before, I was very closet, you know. So I was like, okay, I suffered this. Now I found myself being stricken with something with my body, you know, and wasn't realizing what was going on with my body. So I started hearing the voice saying, you know, you might go ahead and take your life. You know, what else is to live for? What else is it that you could do? You know, how is it that you can help your family? You know, how you gonna take care of your daughter? You know, you have to remember, I own a school, so people's payroll is contingent upon my resources. So now I'm like, Lord, how am I going to take care of the school? How am I going to pay the bills? I mean, payroll reaching almost $60,000, $70,000 every 2 weeks. How are you going to do this? How are you going to get 200 and something kids to school? Every question imaginable was going through my mind at that moment. So, but I still heard the angel of the Lord saying, trust God. And when I began to look at the stool, as I began to, you know, as I said, clean myself, you know, I was reminded that the blood still works. So now I found myself hearing myself say, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. So I got out of the restroom, you know, got myself together, got in the restroom, and I began to sit down in the living room on the couch. And the way my couch in my living room was set up, it was a chair on one side, and a sofa, a love seat on one side, and a couch on the other. And there was a pair of scissors that just, to me, magically appeared on the couch. So now I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the scissors, and I grabbed my cell phone and I text my ex-wife Brandy, and I said, whatever happens, let my daughter know I loved her. You know, and I sent that message out because I knew at that moment I wasn't going to be here anymore. I knew that that night I was going to go. Whether I took myself or the devil was going to take me out or God allowed myself to transition. But that night I knew I wasn't going to be here anymore. So I thought. But I knew that the devil had a plot, but God still had a plan. So what ended up happening here is that I found myself, I said, listen, I just need to get out the house. And then my mother called my phone and she said, what's wrong? I said, well, Mother, I said, Mom, I said, I can't talk about it right now. And I began to cry, began to weep. I knew at that moment I had to get out of the house, because now I realized that it was me not thinking in my right mind. I was actually going through the spiritual warfare again, because of the fact that I was a part of a traditional Baptist church. I wasn't really privy of the knowledge of what spiritual warfare was about. I was thinking, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but with, principalities, So I know all of that, but what is that? Well, I wasn't. I never lived through this before, so. I found myself getting the keys, and I kept saying, I just need to get to the beach. I need to get to the beach. I need to get to the beach. But here it is. I know that most people go to the beach so they can sit down and clear their mind. But right now it's 11 something at night, and I'm saying to myself, I need to get to the beach. I just need to be out there. I need to be alone. And out of nowhere, I found myself riding down Hallandale Beach Boulevard going east, and Vanessa Bell Armstrong's song was on. Peace Be Still.
Peace.
So I was listening to the song, and I don't know why, but God allowed the song to play over and over and over and over. And as I got closer to the beach, I began to, I'm trying to hold it back the tears. I began to try to speak over my own life to say, this is not the end.
Right.
This is not the end.
Right.
But the devil still had me believing, you got to get in the water.
Yeah.
You got to get in the water. That's all I kept hearing him saying, go for a swim, go for a swim. When I got to the beach, I parked, and my phone began to ring. And I just began to scream. I was inside of my truck at the time. I started screaming to the top of my lungs. I kept saying, oh God, why? Oh God, why? Oh God, why? And all I remember was the car being foggy. Air conditioner on, but the car was foggy. I don't know what was happening. My pants was wet now. I didn't know what was going on. So I began to, just cry out to God. I'm sobbing all over the place. And I remember this person coming up to me, or to the car, the truck at the time, and I just seen some hands on the truck. And that's the last thing I remember about being at the beach, because I remember trying to get out the door, and the door wouldn't open, as if the door was jammed. But I remember seeing the person leaning on the truck, but I didn't realize who the person was or what it was or whatever. Again, all I kept thinking is, I just need to go for a swim, and questioning God, God, why? God, why? In other words, God, why would you bring me this far to leave me? God, why would you allow me to go through this? But I didn't realize that God was taking me through a season of breaking. So again, to build my ministry, I want to remind you that I had to go through the breaking, So now I find myself laying up in the hospital, tubes and everything, and people tapping me, shaking me, and poking me, and I looked up and kind of find out I had actually suffered a stroke and a heart attack at the same time. What happened was, when the blood started coming from behind, it was actually the blood making an exit out of my body, because it had to begin to fill up so much. So my body basically couldn't take anymore, and I ended up, like I said, suffering from a mild stroke and a heart attack. And as I was laid up in the hospital, people everywhere, hospitals swarmed with people, family, friends, people from my church, New Macedonia at the time, just everybody, everybody. And I remember laying in there, and I kept saying, God, why?
Why?
And God said, it's a transition. This is a new season.
Right.
Okay, God, this is a new season, but I don't have nothing.
Right.
Here it is. I just made a $37,000 drop. And you telling me this is a new season? What season am I going to? And God said you had to be broken. And so suffering, I went through that. So to build my ministry, I realized I had to go through it. I had to go through it.
Wow.
Never ever being able to recover. It's like every 3 months I was going back to the hospital, suffering with TIAs and this and that, just everything. And every time God said, I got you. I got you. Now, I got my license back.
Right.
I didn't get my $37,000 back. I got my license back. And God told me then, you know, he had to let me know, when you started looking at that school as if it was yours,
right.
I'm a jealous God. The Lord giveth.
Anybody before him.
That's right. And the Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away.
Right.
I lied to you now, I felt like Job. I felt like everything I had was gone.
Wow.
But God.
Right.
But God. So
Right.
I don't know who this is for, but if you're in your season right now that you feel as if something is being taken away from you, trust God.
Trust him. When you
trust God.
When you can't
even trace him, you got to learn how to trust him.
Right.
Because God is a God that he shall not lie. And he will perform everything that he said that he will. When God gave me the school, I kept saying this is God's school. But however, I never knew. I was finding myself trying to get the glory out of it.
Right.
God said all glory belongs to him. You know, so building my ministry, I had to go through that.
To build it.
I had to go through it, and it brought me to a point in my life that I began to give all praises to God. So now again, going from clubbing, going from house partying, going from fornicating, going from just being about me, traveling the world, doing whatever. You know, and again, I was never a drinker. I was never a smoker. I never popped pills. I wasn't that type of person. I just did things that I felt was fun to me.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But God said, still, I want to. If it ain't gonna glorify me, don't do it.
Don't do it.
You know, and I had to go through that. And so when I came out of that season, I went to through another season of my life where I began to feel that I had to go through the fire.
Right.
The fire came when I trusted people. You know, you're my friend. You're my family.
They're going to trust you to help.
So I believed everybody, that God put in my circle, I could trust. I believed that it was okay for me to tell them everything. I believed that it was okay for me to share with them.
Right, to be open.
To be open, because you're my friend. You're my dog.
And you're not going to hurt me.
And the same people that I trust was the same people who lit the match.
My goodness.
So I had to go through the fire.
The Bible said, "Put not your confidence in man."
Yes, and that's the word. But again, I didn't know. I didn't know. I believe, this is my sister and this is my brother. I had to go through that.
Right.
And then the last thing that helped build my ministry, because again, if you remember, God showed me the tears.
Right.
He showed me, the clothing line. I did that, the sink. God blessed me to launch the clothing line. The transportation company, the school. I have 5 vans. I have a school bus. I started doing that. God, he shifted me to start doing the podcast. I started doing that. I was like, okay, I'm good now. But then there's an organization that I wanted to belong to all my life. Again, not knowing that God is a jealous God.
Right.
I always wanted this particular organization. And shortly before launching into joining that organization, God joined me with another organization, which is a Christian organization, Delta Nu Omega.
Okay.
Christian fraternity.
Right.
And God brought us together to start doing ministry through the community, through different churches, through the different venues. And we were doing awesome work. But because I wanted to belong to something else, I started straying away from Delta Nu Omega and I started doing the other organization.
Work.
And something happened. As soon as I got in, I went through 6 months of pleasure.
Right.
And 3 months into being a part of that organization
that you really wanted.
That I really wanted. All my life was knowing about fraternities and sororities. So all my life I wanted to be a part of this particular organization. And it took me 6 months to pledge. And 3 months into being a part of the organization, again, that I wanted all my life, come to find out there was some bogus stuff being done. And the members started, bickering and whatever, and I was placed on suspension for something I didn't do. And I started crying,
Right.
you know, because they started coming against me personally, my character. I felt, I can't even begin to express what I felt. But while I was in that season, no one knew, but I had to take sleeping pills to go to sleep every night.
Wow.
I found myself back in the hospital while doing that process for certain reasons. But God said to me, I'm a jealous God. You know, again, this is something I wanted. But I had to realize maybe this is not something God wanted me to do. But I can't say God didn't want me to be in it because He made it happen. You know, so again, I had to realize in this particular phase, being given.
Right.
So
perhaps that's not what you needed. See, the thing he said, the Bible said He knows our needs before we even ask.
Right.
That may not have been something that you need attached to your life.
Right.
So therefore, it didn't work out.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And so I say all of that to say this, and I'm glad that you say that, and thank you for that word. But I come to realize that I put more confidence in men than I did in God.
Wow.
When God gave us DNQ, Delta Nu Omega, it was for service for kingdom building.
Right.
Again, I left the partying, I left the crazy stuff, you know, and I'm not saying that everything I do was right. I'm just saying at that time, you know, God started shifting me for kingdom.
Right.
So I was stripped from it. You know, and just better way of saying, I just, you know, I started feeling detached. I started feeling, you know, just, and I was broken, you know. So now I come to find out that in ministry, in order to properly build your ministry, there are phases, there are levels, and there are devils that you're going to have to go through, press through, fight through, and get through. And so all of those things, going back from my stepfather to the organization, I had to go through just to get here. Because God said to me, you're not going to have an ordinary ministry. I'm not an ordinary person. I realized one day, I looked in the mirror, I'm just different.
I mean, why should you have an ordinary ministry when you serve it extraordinary most time? Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So I realized I'm different, you know. So now, because of that, God has shifted. When I tell you, God has done and doing some amazing things. Who would have ever known? Being one of the very first to do a home-based broadcast show. You know, I just want to make sure I put it out there.
Yes.
God gave me that vision.
Wonderful.
To be one of the first to do a Christian podcast show, you know, on a regular basis.
I'm honored to be a part.
And I'm glad that you are. But I would have never known, you know. One of the first African American male operated, ran fully owned, accredited schools that actually could house students from kindergarten to 12th grade, with also housing an adult ed component. You know, that's nobody but God. Nobody but God. And all of this is ministry. You know, it's not a dollar, it's ministry. Being the very first that I know of to go from kindergarten to, like I said, to adult ed, and now opening up the theological and seminary university.
Oh, could you tell us a little more about that? I read that somewhere.
Okay.
That you were opening that up.
Yes, I opened it up. Actually, I got a license about 6 years ago. When God showed me the tiers, I went online, I researched, and I did my license for the seminary and institution. And again, there's a waiting process, you know, because I was ready to do it then. I was like, okay, God.
Yes, hurry up and wait.
There you go. Okay, here go my paperwork. And people say you're approved. I was ready to give out degrees right away. I was like, okay, let me microwave it. Put them in the microwave, 5 minutes. Here come a degree. God said no. God said no. I had to go through the trials. I had to go through everything, trying to get paperwork right, making sure everything lined up. Then when I reached the point where God, moved His hands for I could walk in it, I was able to go back, recertify, reclassify certain things, and I'm excited about it. We're going to be able to house degrees such as associates in business, broadcasting, ministry,
wonderful,
Christian counseling, Christian education, going all the way up to a doctoral degree.
Okay,
in those areas, which I always tell people that's where I got mine, and I don't hide this. I let people know that's where I got my degree from, my doctoral degree, and I got it from my own institution because I kept saying to myself, which I went back to school, but why get it from somebody else when God gave you the platform,
right? To give
it to yourself.
Concept.
So I will be able to start offering those this year as well. So I'm excited. To be honest with you, I'm scared, because again, this is another door God has opened that He properly prepared for me, but I haven't planned for. So I'm excited.
No, wonderful.
I'm excited.
I mean, and just thinking about all of this that you've been engaged in and with the things that you were doing.
Right.
My only question to you now is, what's next? Where are you going now from here? Well,
the next step, of course, is FIU, which I don't want to get it mixed up with Florida It's Florida Interdenominational University. Also, our accreditation alliance that myself and a couple, of course, I asked you, Dwayne Rayford, my other Delta Jet brother, Bishop Kelvin Greer. I spoke with them about it. We're formulating an actual board to be able to offer accreditations to other private schools. Because that's something that God been laid on my heart. But in that arena, there's not a lot of African American based accreditation agencies.
Yeah, of course.
So God has moved me to that direction. He's moved me into the direction of actually, continue with the Sync Broadcast Network on a major platform with Distinct Talk, the podcast. I'm moving on with that. So I guess the question is, what's next? I just believe that God has shifted me to a whole other level. Empowerment Ministries will be basically an internet-based or ministry where I will be able to speak, preach, and like I tell people, I don't really need a platform. God has given me my own platform, and I'm just gonna walk in God. I'm gonna walk in. I'm gonna walk in it. I have no other choice. Obedience is better than sacrifice, and I have already sacrificed so much. I've been, like I said, I've done it. I've done it all. So I believe what's next besides my book. I guess I could go ahead and speak about it now. I'm looking by December 2nd, which is my birthday, to have the book complete.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
And then hopefully I can write the stage play for it.
Right. We got a tag team, as we always do.
Definitely.
I just want to make sure I put it out there. Listen, this is my backbone right here. But that's I believe that's next, and the doors opening for Empowerment Ministries.
I mean, just for you to be willing and obedient. He said if we be willing and obedient, we should eat the good of the land. We shall eat. And so with that thought in mind, there are young men out there who are struggling with the struggle.
Yes.
If you had an opportunity to speak to those young men right now, what would you look into that camera and tell them?
I want to say, whatever your struggles are, whatever you may feel that you're going through, trust God. I know it may seem a little cliche-ish that God will never bring you to something that He can't bring you through, but I'm a witness to that. I want to tell you to hold on, because the race is not given to the swift nor to the strong, but it's given only to the ones that endure to the end. We all want the fame, we all want the fortune, we all want the glory, But again, diamonds does not shine if it have not went through the pressure, the fire, and the breaking. There is a waiting process. So don't give up while you're in the middle of your waiting season. You know, we all want to get in church, yeah, oh, this is my season.
Oh, yeah.
But you must remember, before God gets you to that season, there is a process. I tell people this right here, and I find this to be a proper place to put it. Look at the washing machine cycle. And I had this in a sermon. That you buy something new, and that's God's grace.
Right.
Morning by morning, brand new mercies we see. God gives us His grace every morning.
Every morning.
Every morning. When we inhale and when we exhale, we are given God's grace. So because you may be in your season, you have to understand that there is a waiting season. Now, you have a brand new object, so God gives us His mercy. So now we have God's mercy, but then what ended up happening, there's something that we do because we are human that we begin to mess up. But because we mess up, God does not give up on us.
Right.
So now that you are in your season of going through, we always look at things as if it's going, as if we've been stripped from it. But I want you to understand that we get dirty on purpose.
Right.
God knows that we are who we are. We are humane. We are sinners saved by grace. So what ended up happening is going through this particular process, what I call the washing machine process. You have to understand that you have to be thrown in the water.
Yes.
Now we have to be baptized, and none could go to God unless we've been baptized. So now when we go and we have accepted Christ, and we accepted our faults, we have accepted our wrongdoing, and we begin to ask God for forgiveness. Now we have entered into a phase in our life that we are being entered into the washing machine. And then what happens is the washing machine, it fills up with water. And He's the water. He's the well that will never run dry.
Yes.
So what happens here is we find ourselves being submerged up under God's grace. And while we're in that particular process, you will find yourself being in the midst of it. That's where God's grace, love, and everything abides. So God begins to pour detergent on us. And what happens is when God pours the detergent on us, He begins to allow us to go through the rough things in life. He begins to go through the shifting, is what I call it. We begin to go through the molding process. He began to strip us away from so-called friends. He began to strip us away from fornicating. He began to shift us and strip us away from the things of life, things that we want, things that we feel that we have to have in our life. God began to take us through a season in our life where we begin to go around and around and around. If you ever look at a washing machine with the lid open, you will notice it does not go all the way around until it's the spin cycle. Right. But when you go through the cleaning cycle, you will begin to notice that it's going to be some things going back and forth. And that's what began to happen in us. And that's what began to happen to me. I found myself, and I want to encourage you with this, you will find yourself going through and in and out of different things. And what I come to realize, when I was in that season, that's when I began to realize who God really is and who God really was in my life. Right. So I want to encourage you, while you're going through that season, don't give up. You have to begin to continue to hold on and trust God. Just as I said, as the angel said to me, trust God. That's all he kept saying to me. Trust God while you're going through that process. Yes. Because what you will realize is when you get to that particular phase in your life, in the washing machine cycle, you will find yourself going to the next level or the next dimension in God, where God will begin to drain some things off of you. But when God drains things off of you, it's not just, you're not just being drained. You'll find yourself getting to where you have to lay prostrate before the Lord. Yes. You find yourself where you have to get into your prayer closet more. Why? Because you're being drained. You're tired. You're going to get tired of going through. Right. You'll find yourself getting tired of having to suffer. Right. You know, but we do know that in this walk it comes long suffering. Okay, so now you'll find yourself after going through the pressing, after going through the shaking, after you suffered a little while, after you're going through that for that particular season, you will realize that there's going to come a rinse cycle. Yes. When you go through the rinse cycle, God begins to fill you up with something new. Yes. So I don't know who you are, but maybe you have already gone through the dirty cycle. Maybe you have already gone through the cycle of being shook when you lost some things, you've been stripped of some things. Maybe you have already gone through the cycle where you begin to be drained. But now you may be in this particular phase in your life where God begins to fill you up.
Yes.
What He's filling me up with, He's filling me up with joy. He's filling me up with love. He's filling me up with tenderness. He's filling me up with things that I would need to get to my next level. I come to tell you, while you're in this particular level in your life, you'll come to find out that God is getting ready to shift you to another dimension. Why? Because God don't want any unclean thing doing His work.
Woo!
Let's just keep it real.
That's right.
So God began to rinse me. And I want to let you know, if I can encourage you with this, maybe you are in a particular season in your life where God is beginning to take you through the rinse cycle.
The rinse cycle.
So now that you're being rinsed, you will find yourself getting ready to be drained again. And after that, God allows you, after being drawn, broken, shaken, given, rinsed, you'll find yourself being hung out.
Why?
And what happens when you be hung out? And to encourage you, God allowed people to see that which was dirty to be spotless again.
Behold, all things are new.
Behold, all things become new.
I simply just praise the Most High for you.
Thank you.
I thank you so much for coming and sharing and opening up with us this evening. And we thank all of you for tuning in to the Distinct Broadcasting Network, aka DC's Talk. And if you don't remember one word that we said tonight, we want you to remember to trust God. Have a great night.
Thank you for listening. God bless y'all. Good night.